Very nice. Very nice
Thank you.
piece. And it reminds me a lot of Miles Davis. It really does. I wanted to talk a little bit about the music industry.
Sure.
Now, you, of course, are independent on your own label, Mr. Shepherd
Yes.
Records.
hmm
It seems to me that there are a lot more independent record labels coming about. I think that the major record labels are pretty much on the decline. Do
Yes.
you see that what's happening now as a positive?
I think it's funny you should ask about this. We just had a whole big conversation about this exact topic on our way back from Albany. I think it is a positive because now musicians have direct access to the audience, and you don't have the gatekeepers, sitting in judgment of what's good and what's bad and what will get played and what will get recorded and what will not. And you can go directly to your audience now. I mean, with technology, if this was 1960 or even 1980, the cost of publishing a record the cost would be prohibitive. An individual couldn't do it. Now, as these technologies are more developed, and with digital technology, an individual artist or a group of artists can be quite capable of producing a studio quality record and printing it and distributing it on iTunes and what have you. So the doors are wide open. The question is, now that there's so many people out there putting their music out there, the next big question that remains unanswered and that we're going to have to deal with is, how do you stand out from the crowd? Mm-hmm. Now that everyone has direct access, how do you say, okay, well, pay attention to me over here. I have something that I want to say. But I wouldn't choose any other time period to be a musician in, and I mean, with the possible exception of I would have loved to play with Duke Ellington. Mm-hmm. But in terms of opportunity, I think this is the best time to be a musician of any genre. And one of the things that when I was first starting out, thinking about maybe doing a recording, I read an interview with J.J. Johnson, the great jazz trombonist, and his last album was on Verve, right, and it was entitled Heroes. And in this interview, he was talking about how he was trying to get them to not use that title. He didn't think that should be the title of it, and he wanted to play certain songs on it, and they were basically making him play certain songs, and the title was something that he didn't really want. And reading that, I thought to myself, here you have pretty much the greatest jazz trombonist to ever live, and he can't even decide what songs are on his album or what the title is. I mean, how much do you have to accomplish before you can get a record label to give you some measure of creative control? And that's when the wheels started turning for me, thinking about being self-produced, starting my own label, and having control over not just the business decisions, but more importantly, the creative decisions. Like on my record, I wrote all the music, with my band. I rehearsed it, we recorded it. And while a record label may or may not have financed that, I would not have been I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been able to do, how I wanted to do it. There would have been someone along the line saying, this song is in, this song is out. And I think that's the opportunity, to get back to your question, that's the opportunity we have now, is that when you put out your own music, it can really be your own music. It can be what you wanted to say to the world. And I think that's why it's such an exciting time being a musician, because you can go directly with what you wanted to say and say it directly to the people who want to hear what you have to say. And that hasn't been true at any other point in our history.
Yes, I am in total agreement with what you said, in particular the creativity, because in my opinion, record labels love to put people in boxes and stamp it with a label, and that's it, and that's all. You can't be anything else. But when you're independent, you can branch out. You can explore the different avenues to your talent. I mean, you can put out a CD that has a country song on it, an R&B song on it, a gospel song on it, and it's all okay because it's good music and people are going to love it. So,
exactly.
And that's why I'm so passionate about only playing independent artists, because there's so much talent out here. So much, and the people need to understand that they don't need to listen to those same 20 or 30 songs in rotation all day long on the radio. They can come to internet radio stations and hear, people who are just as talented, if not more talented, than what they're hearing on 93.5 or whatever. So,
exactly.
I definitely agree with that.
And the internet is what makes all of that possible.
Yes, and I love being a part of it. I do. I mean, it's like so fulfilling to me to place people in. And I'm finding that people are now seeking me out to send me music. Like, I had so much music come to me this week. There's no way I could have played it all in 4 hours. No way. So, which I try to play new music. And sometimes I don't get that much and I can fit it in. And other times, this past week where I've just gotten an abundance. I'm like, oh my God, and that's happening more and more, and I love it because, I just like music. I like to immerse myself in music, and there are a lot of people like me out there listening. So I appreciate
more than you might think.
Yes, I appreciate all of you musicians who are independent, who are doing it your way and not letting the record exec tell you can't play that song. I love it. And I think, like you said, this is the best time as far as that part is concerned. Now, if you want a record company to do a distribution deal for you, you have to sell 5,000 units or 500,000 units or whatever it is. But in my opinion, if you can sell that many units without the record label, what do you need them for?
And, more and more people are doing that. And more people who you wouldn't think of as independent, I mean, this is going to come out of left field, but somebody like Trey Songz,
yes,
who started out selling his own records, his own mixtapes, and then when he went to his label to get his deal, he was in a position where he could say, I've been selling this record, It's more of a question of what you can do for me rather than what...
I love it. I love
And
it.
Dave Matthews Band is another one that had that type of. So if you, I mean, that's very empowering as an artist. If you can say, you know, we've got a fan base, we've already put out a product, there's demonstrated demand for the product. You know, speaking the language of business, they'll understand that.
Exactly.
And that just puts you in a much better position, even if you do choose to go the route of using a label as a distributor. You might choose to continue to do it on your own.
Right. And I personally do both, you know. It can't hurt you.
Right.
And you know the other thing that I'm finding, David, is that a lot of groups who were with record labels.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Another thing that I'm finding is that a lot of groups that were with record labels are now independent and doing their own thing again. Like Kool and the Gang, the Ohio Players, which, although it's a new Ohio Players, I think it's just one original member in that group.
Okay.
Force MDs. Who else? I mean, Gregory Abbott. I played something from him tonight.
Really?
Yeah. They were with record labels, but a lot of these people, the record labels put them on the shelf, you know. So they're like, you know, we still got creativity, we still got good music to share with people. So they're doing their own thing, and again, that's because of modern technology. It allows people who couldn't do it before to be able to do it now.
Exactly. So. And I think just looking at the business model of a major record label, in order for a release on a major record label to be successful, it's got to sell so many, like at least, 500,000 units.
Right.
Just to make back the money of, producing the video, producing all of the marketing. Most of the marketing, especially if you're using traditional media, radio, television, and print, is extremely expensive. Now, whereas as an individual, your break-even point is considerably lower. You might be successful selling 5,000 or 50,000 records, whereas if you sold 50,000 records for Columbia, that would be the end of your contract.
Right.
But if you did it on your own, that would be not only artistically successful, but lucrative as well. It would probably finance your next one or two records. So I think once even people who are established artists have been out there doing it for years, like the people you mentioned, once they see a major record label, if they can't hit that 500,000 mark, they don't want to have anything to do with you. And even somebody, I saw on her 60 Minutes interview, even somebody like Katy Perry was dropped from her first two labels because, oddly enough, she didn't sell enough. Now enough for her was, 300,000 records, and she's getting dropped from her label. Now, if I sell 300,000, I'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, really.
But that's the difference between being independent and being on a major label. Just the cost of marketing alone for a major release makes it, the cost is so high that the break-even point is so high that it's not feasible for them to deal with artists who are not selling mega hits.
Right.
But then there are many, many more people whose music many people like who are just not at that mark. But now, as you were saying, they're finding an outlet through being independent. So it's really a great time to be a musician right now.
Now, your CD Flashpoint is available on any download site, correct?
Yes, it's on iTunes, it's on Amazon MP3, and you can also buy the physical copy on Amazon as well. And it's also available on CD Baby for download or for the physical copy. And it's streaming on a number of different sites. More than I can even remember.
Right.
But it's out there, and it's available through all the major sites. And you can go through my website, davidwhitejazz.com, and it'll have a link exactly where you can go to listen to it. And I have videos up there and clips and things of all the songs up there, so you can sample, see what you like, and see if you might want to check it out.
Okay, that's davidwhitejazz.com.
That's right.
Okay.
DavidWhiteJazz.com.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, David, for spending this time with us. We're going to let you go and relax because we know you've had your gig earlier and you've been with us for over an hour, and we do very much appreciate it. But I want to.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. I wanted to play this one last song. This is Mr. Shepherd's Blues, and I love this, what you wrote here about where it came from.
Yeah, my grandfather, he gave me the nickname Mr. Shepherd because David in the Bible was a shepherd. So he called me Mr. Shepherd. He never called me David. He called everyone by the nickname that he assigned to them. And so I wrote that one for him.
That's beautiful. And also that's the name of your record label, which I find very touching. You know.
Oh, do you like that? Thank you.
Yes, I do. Okay, David, I'm not going to hold you any longer. We're going to go ahead and listen to Mr. Shepherd's Blues. And once again, thank you so much for stopping by.
And can I just ask people if they're in the New York area, we're going to be playing on August 19th at Miles Cafe, which is on 212 East 53rd Street. And all of our upcoming dates are up on the website. So if you're in the New York area, we'd love to see you and come by and say hi.
Okay. And David, you can let everybody know that they can listen to this interview just by going to WDGPradio.com after tomorrow, because I have to have time to do what I do.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. And on that note, we're going to listen to Mr. Shepherd's Blues. And you have a wonderful rest of the weekend.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
beautiful music. Thanks once again to Mr. David White for stopping by, sharing his insight, wisdom, knowledge with us about music, and sharing his beautiful music as well. Now, don't forget, you can purchase this CD just about from any download site you can think of. All you need to do is do a search for David White Flashpoint or you can just go to his website, davidwhitejazz.com.